Recently, I was asked to be a guest on CNN to talk about the green water in the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pond. It's recently been renovated. It was painted American flag blue, and they filled it up, and now the whole thing is green. So what is going on here? And I thought this YouTube video would be a good idea here just to expand on some of the things that we talked about, because what happened today, the day that I'm filming this, is that workers were seen pouring hydrogen peroxide into the water here to try to deal with the fact the whole thing is totally green. There's a bunch of pictures out there circulating online and it's showing the water just deep dark green, which is what happens, when you have untreated or poorly treated water. Algae growth happens quick. Even in a swimming pool where we use a chemical sanitizer to keep algae at bay, which you can't really use in an open water environment like at the reflecting pool because it would be bad for wildlife and things like that. Even with that, you can barely keep algae at bay sometimes. So I think it would be good to understand what happened here. So it turned green. They just filled it up. They just turned on the pool after this renovation. It turned green. Is this like a big oopsie here? Not really. It's kind of expected. Like, you hope that it's not going to happen, and it might not happen, but it can happen. And what happens here to make it happen is, converging things like the environment. There was a lot of rain. That definitely is going to add a lot of contamination to the size of that body of water is just so immense in scale. It's monumental, literally. And the amount of rain and contamination that gets in there during heavy rains is certainly appreciable. And that alone could have caused this or kick-started this prolific algae bloom that we see happening in the water now. But there's more things that could have caused that, like just the amount of surface area of water that is open to debris, contamination, leaves, pollen, duck poop, like all kinds of stuff is in that water. And every little bit of it is helping to add food and add fuel for an algae bloom. Really hot temperatures are something that are well known to be a contributing factor to algae growing quickly in a body of water. And that's, I think, something that could be a contributing factor here. The recent renovations saw the color change to a darker blue color, and darker blue, especially in a shallow body of water with a large surface area, will result in the water being warmer than the exact same thing in a lighter color with a lighter color interior surface. So it could be that there was, contributing factors here from environmental, but there also is the consideration that the water could be warmer, and that would lend itself to more prolific algae growth as well. So there's supposed to be some sort of nanobubbler system, right? You hear about that on the news, and we talked about that when I was on CNN. What's the deal? How come that's not doing its job? And the nature of it is, it's when algae gets started, when there's a foothold for algae to start, which there would be in an environment like this, it can get out of hand really quickly, especially if you feed it the ingredients it needs, like contamination and a lot of heat from like record high temperatures, which I think were experienced during the time that the pool was filled and started. All of these things are going to add up to more aggressive algae growth, and the system could very well be designed such that it would keep algae at bay under normal operating conditions, but a system fill in startup is not necessarily normal operating conditions. It also warrants mentioning that it's known that there's going to be a future renovation of the reflecting pool here to deal with some of the filtration or lack of filtration, some deficiencies with the plumbing system for this body of water. So there are known deficiencies that haven't been addressed yet. And certainly you could think, well, that could be a contributing factor here as well. And I would agree with that. The nanobubbler system is actually a really cool technology. So you might be familiar with the idea of like ozone. It's something that you would readily see in a residential swimming pool, and you're basically just oxidizing the water. You've got a system, and it's adding ozone bubbles to the pool, and then the bubble, circulates in the plumbing system and then gets ejected out into the body of water, and then it floats to the surface and it disappears into the atmosphere. And hopefully somewhere along the way there, it encounters a piece of organic debris or some contamination like bacteria, and it will oxidize it during that process. Now, this nanobubbler technology is different. It addresses what would be normally the big shortcoming of an ozone system or an injection system like this. That contact time with the water is solved because they create a bubble which is so small. It's like 2,000 times smaller than a grain of salt. And as a result, it's neutrally buoyant within the water. It's not like a larger ozone bubble, which is actually still an appreciably small bubble to the eye, that would normally find its way to the surface. These nanobubbles are so small that they're neutrally buoyant and they remain in the water perpetually, able to do their thing and waiting around to, encounter some sort of contamination that it can oxidize. So the merit is there that the system would work. It's just under unusual load here with things like unusual heat, rain, the system just being started and possibly having some existing algae inside of the plumbing lines. Like if you didn't flush out the lines, you can bet after being off for such a period of time that there would have been significant algae growth in those lines, and that would have kind of kick-started this whole algae bloom thing. Certainly a contributing factor, at least. So are they going to have to drain and refill this thing? Like, that's something you do to a swimming pool when it gets really bad, right? And I mean, I guess it's possible that it could just get so out of hand that the only recourse here is drain it, clean it, fill it up again, and try again, being more careful this time and more aggressive with things like manually compensating that nanobubbler system with the liquid hydrogen peroxide that they've started to add now. Draining and refilling isn't ideal, but sometimes it might be the lesser of two evils when you're dealing with a body of water that's just so far gone, so much algae growing in it that it would just be less work to drain it and refill it, even though it's as gigantic as it is. I understand that workers are working to scoop out, the dead algae that the peroxide and the nanobubblers have caused. And now it's dead algae floating at the surface, but it still needs to be removed. It's not like there's, surface level skimmers like you'd have on a swimming pool. So somebody has to manually get in there and scoop out all this dead algae, manually add some more hydrogen peroxide and really supercharge the oxidation of the water and hopefully stop that algae from coming back. Will the peroxide be enough? I don't know. You'd have to add an awful lot of peroxide because we're talking about an immense size of reflecting pool here, over 6.5 million gallons of water. So yeah, if you're pouring in liquid peroxide by the jug, you're going to need a lot of jugs. I was recently interviewed by the Washington Post about this same renovation of the Memorial Reflecting Pool, and now that the water's turned green, I ended up on CNN today, and that's not where I thought my morning was going when I was waking up today, but so be it. I'm happy to have the exposure, and I'm always happy to talk about swimming pools. I think you all know that by now. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel here, and you can check out my website, swimmingpoolsteve.com.